10 terrible signs you shouldn't trust your own family and how to deal with this painful problem. Family, where life begins and love never ends. Yet, the same relationships that bring us love and comfort can sometimes be our greatest sources of pain. Family bonds are often idealized as safe havens, but when trust is broken, the emotional fallout can be profound. Trust is the invisible thread that holds families together, creating a foundation of security, mutual understanding, and emotional well-being. Without it, even the closest relationships can unravel, leaving behind feelings of betrayal and disillusionment. Why trust matters in families. Trust within families fosters open communication, mutual respect, and unwavering support. It's the bedrock upon which strong, loving relationships are built. When trust is present, family members feel safe to share their vulnerabilities and celebrate each other's triumphs. However, the absence of trust can lead to toxic dynamics, fostering feelings of resentment, anxiety, and isolation. Betrayal or persistent dishonesty doesn't just affect the individual, it ripples through the family, eroding the collective sense of security. This video explores the importance of recognizing red flags in family relationships that might signal deeper trust issues. Identifying these signs can empower you to address toxic patterns, protect your emotional well-being, and foster healthier connections, even in challenging circumstances. 1. Consistent dishonesty. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and this is especially true within families. When family members are consistently dishonest, it shakes the very core of these bonds. Dishonesty in a family isn't always about monumental lies. Sometimes it's the accumulation of smaller, persistent untruths that creates an environment of mistrust. Over time, this behavior erodes the sense of safety and reliability that should define familial relationships. Imagine a sibling who hides financial struggles, repeatedly downplaying the severity of their situation until it spirals out of control and impacts everyone involved. Or consider a parent who withholds important family information, such as health concerns or financial difficulties, under the guise of protecting others. These actions may be well-intentioned, but the result is often confusion, frustration, and a breakdown of trust. Dishonesty also breeds insecurity. It leaves family members second-guessing each other's words and intentions, creating an atmosphere of suspicion. When you can't rely on someone to tell you the truth, it becomes nearly impossible to confide in them, let alone depend on them during challenging times. Ultimately, consistent dishonesty signals a deeper issue, a lack of respect for the relationship and for your right to transparency. Addressing dishonesty requires courage and a commitment to open communication. It may involve confronting the family member in question, setting boundaries, or seeking external support, such as therapy, to rebuild trust. While rebuilding trust is possible, it requires mutual effort. Being honest, even when the truth is uncomfortable, strengthens relationships, proving that love and trust go hand in hand. In contrast, persistent dishonesty only serves to alienate and distance, leaving the relationship fractured and fragile. Recognizing and addressing this red flag is essential for fostering authentic and lasting family connections. 2. Manipulative behavior. Manipulative behavior in family relationships is a subtle yet deeply damaging dynamic. It often disguises itself as care or concern, but gradually erodes the autonomy and emotional well-being of its target. Manipulation can take many forms, including guilt-tripping, shaming, or emotional blackmail, and it thrives in the close-knit environment of family where emotions run deep. Imagine a parent who uses financial support as leverage to dictate your choices, such as your career, where you live, or whom you marry. The message becomes clear: their help comes with strings attached. This creates an unhealthy dependency and makes you feel trapped in decisions that don't align with your authentic desires. Another example could be a sibling who constantly plays the victim, exaggerating their struggles to garner your sympathy and attention while ignoring your boundaries and needs. The harm in manipulative behavior lies in its ability to distort relationships. Instead of being built on mutual respect and understanding, these relationships become transactional, with one person always exerting control. This dynamic can lead to feelings of resentment, frustration, and helplessness. Recognizing manipulation starts with identifying patterns. Do you often feel guilty after interacting with a particular family member? Are you pressured into decisions that make you uncomfortable? These are signs that manipulation may be at play. Addressing manipulative behavior requires setting and enforcing boundaries. Clearly communicate what you will and will not tolerate. For example, you can say, "I appreciate your input, but I need to make this decision on my own." If manipulation persists, limiting interactions or seeking professional guidance, such as family counseling, might be necessary. Remember, genuine family support empowers rather than controls. Healthy relationships allow space for individuality and growth, fostering a foundation of love and mutual respect free from manipulation. 3. Betrayal of confidence. Betrayal of confidence is a profound violation of trust that can leave lasting scars in family relationships. Trusting someone with personal information or feelings is an act of vulnerability, and when that trust is broken, it shakes the foundation of the bond. Families are meant to provide a safe space, but when private matters are shared without consent, it undermines the very essence of that safety. Consider a scenario where you confide in a family member about a difficult situation, such as a relationship problem or a personal failure, only to later hear it repeated to others during a family gathering. Not only does this violate your privacy, but it also exposes you to judgment and embarrassment from people you didn't choose to share with. The sense of betrayal can lead to feelings of isolation and hesitation to open up in the future. The damage caused by a breach of confidence is often amplified in families because of the emotional closeness involved. It creates a ripple effect, eroding trust not only in the person who betrayed you, but in the family dynamic as a whole. To address this issue, it's essential to set clear boundaries, express how their actions have hurt you, and emphasize the importance of keeping private matters confidential. For instance, you might say, "When I share something personal, I need to know it stays between us." If the behavior continues, consider limiting what you share with that individual. Building or rebuilding trust takes time and consistency. Both parties must be committed to respecting boundaries and nurturing a culture of discretion. A family should be a source of comfort, not fear of betrayal. Protecting your emotional well-being may require difficult conversations, but it's a necessary step toward preserving meaningful relationships. 4. Financial exploitation. Financial exploitation in families often disguises itself as a harmless request for help, but can quickly spiral into a pattern of manipulation and misuse. Families are expected to support one another, but when financial assistance becomes a recurring demand or is given under false pretenses, it creates an unhealthy dynamic of dependency and mistrust. Imagine a relative who frequently borrows money, promising repayment but never following through. Over time, this pattern not only strains your finances, but also leaves you feeling used and disrespected. In more extreme cases, financial exploitation can involve subtle coercion, like a family member guilt-tripping you into giving them money or resources they don't genuinely need. The emotional toll of financial exploitation is significant. It fosters resentment, disrupts family harmony, and can make you hesitant to offer help in genuine cases of need. It also sets a harmful precedent where boundaries are ignored and one-sided expectations dominate the relationship. Addressing financial exploitation requires assertiveness. Clearly communicate your boundaries, such as stating, "I can't lend you money anymore, but I'm happy to help you budget or find resources. Sticking to these limits can be challenging, especially if guilt is leveraged against you, but it's necessary for maintaining healthy relationships. In some cases, professional guidance may be beneficial. Financial counseling or mediation can help navigate these sensitive situations without escalating tensions. Remember, supporting family doesn't mean tolerating exploitation. Healthy family dynamics should respect each member's autonomy and well-being, including their financial stability. 5. Lack of support during crises. Families are often seen as a pillar of support during life's most challenging moments. However, when family members fail to show up emotionally or physically during crises, it signals a troubling lack of reliability. This absence can leave you feeling abandoned and questioning the strength of your familial bonds. Picture a situation where you're going through a medical emergency or a significant life upheaval, such as losing a job. You expect your family to rally around you, but instead, they prioritize their own needs or dismiss the gravity of your situation. For instance, a sibling who chooses to ignore your request for help, or a parent who offers superficial support instead of genuine assistance. This lack of care not only exacerbates your struggle, but also creates emotional wounds that are hard to heal. The impact of this neglect extends beyond the immediate crisis. It fosters resentment and a sense of imbalance in the relationship, as you realize the support you offer may not be reciprocated when you need it most. Over time, this dynamic can erode the trust and intimacy that families are meant to provide. To address this, communicate your needs clearly during difficult times. For example, say, "I really need your support right now. Can you help with this specific task?" If support remains absent, reassess the relationship and consider leaning on friends or professional networks that can provide the care you need. While family support is invaluable, it shouldn't be your sole source of help. Building a broader support system can alleviate some of the pressure and prevent disappointment. Ultimately, healthy family dynamics are rooted in mutual care and reliability, not selective support based on convenience. 6. Frequent gossiping. Gossiping within families might seem harmless at first, but it often creates divisions and mistrust over time. When family members discuss your personal life or struggles with others behind your back, it can feel like a betrayal of confidence and respect. Gossip often distorts facts, exaggerating situations and amplifying conflicts that could otherwise be resolved privately. Imagine discovering that a sibling has been sharing details about your financial struggles or personal challenges with extended family members, framing them as juicy tidbits for entertainment rather than respecting your privacy. This not only damages your reputation, but also undermines your trust in that person. Over time, you may begin to question whether your conversations are safe or if they'll become fodder for the next family gathering. The effects of gossip extend beyond individual relationships. It creates an environment of insecurity where family members hesitate to open up, fearing that their vulnerabilities will be exposed. This atmosphere disrupts the open communication and support that families should foster. To address gossip, confront it directly but calmly. Let the person know how their actions have affected you by saying, "I value our relationship, but I feel hurt when private matters I've shared are discussed with others." Setting boundaries about what you're comfortable sharing and with whom is critical. Over time, you may need to adjust your expectations of those who engage in gossip and limit your disclosures to them. Instead, prioritize relationships within the family where trust and mutual respect are evident. Healthy family dynamics thrive on confidentiality, empathy, and understanding, not on spreading rumors or creating unnecessary drama. 7. Dismissal of boundaries. Respecting boundaries is fundamental in any relationship, but it's especially crucial within families. When boundaries are ignored or dismissed, it creates tension and conflict, as well as a sense that your needs and autonomy are not valued. This can manifest in many ways, from emotional intrusions to physical overstepping. Consider a parent who enters your home uninvited even after you've asked them to call beforehand. Or a relative who dismisses your parenting choices, constantly criticizing how you raise your children despite your repeated requests to respect your methods. These actions, though sometimes framed as care or concern, signal a lack of respect for your individuality and decisions. The dismissal of boundaries often stems from a power dynamic where one person feels entitled to dictate or interfere in your life. This can lead to frustration, resentment, and a breakdown in communication. When your boundaries are routinely ignored, it also becomes harder to trust that person with more significant aspects of your life. To handle this, clearly communicate your limits. For instance, say, "I appreciate your concern, but this is a decision I need to make for myself. Please respect that." Consistency is key. Enforcing boundaries each time they're crossed reinforces their importance. If the behavior persists, you may need to limit interactions with the person or seek external support, such as counseling, to mediate the situation. Healthy families respect each other's autonomy and choices, understanding that boundaries are not barriers to love, but foundations for mutual respect. 8. Favoritism or unfair treatment. Favoritism within families can deeply wound relationships, creating feelings of inadequacy, resentment, and alienation among those who are overlooked. While families are expected to nurture and celebrate each member equally, showing clear preference for one individual over others undermines these values and can fracture familial bonds. Imagine a parent who consistently praises one sibling's achievements while neglecting or even belittling another's efforts. Over time, the overlooked sibling may begin to feel unworthy, questioning their self-worth and value within the family. Similarly, unfair treatment can manifest in how responsibilities are distributed. One child may shoulder more family duties, while another receives privileges without contributing equally. Favoritism often stems from unconscious biases or cultural norms, but its impact is long-lasting. It not only strains the relationships between siblings, but can also affect the connection between parents and children. The child who feels neglected may withdraw emotionally, fostering a cycle of miscommunication and misunderstanding. Addressing favoritism requires courage and honest dialogue. If you're the one affected, share your feelings respectfully but assertively. For instance, you might say, "I've noticed that my efforts often go unacknowledged and it makes me feel undervalued." For parents or family members, becoming aware of unintentional biases and making conscious efforts to treat everyone equitably is essential. In situations where favoritism persists, despite efforts to address it, focusing on your personal growth and seeking support outside the family can help maintain emotional balance. Healthy families thrive on fairness and inclusivity, where every member feels seen, valued, and equally loved. 9. Emotional or physical abuse. Emotional or physical abuse within families is one of the most devastating breaches of trust and safety. While families are expected to be a source of love and protection, abusive behaviors shatter that expectation, leaving victims feeling vulnerable, isolated, and unworthy of love. Abuse can take many forms, from harsh words and constant criticism to intimidation and physical harm. Imagine a relative who consistently demeans you with insults or undermines your self-esteem by pointing out perceived flaws in front of others. Worse, consider a family member who uses physical aggression, throwing objects, grabbing you forcefully, or threatening harm to assert control during disagreements. These behaviors are not only damaging in the moment, but can have long-lasting effects on your mental and emotional health. The harm caused by abuse often leads to self-doubt, anxiety, and depression. It creates an environment of fear where open communication and trust are impossible. Victims may also struggle with guilt or confusion, feeling trapped by cultural or societal expectations to maintain family unity at all costs. Addressing abuse starts with recognizing it as unacceptable, no matter the context. If you're experiencing abuse, prioritize your safety and well-being. This may mean seeking support from trusted friends, counselors, or advocacy organizations. Establish boundaries and, if necessary, create physical or emotional distance from the abuser. Breaking the cycle of abuse is challenging but essential for healing. It requires bravery to confront the issue, seek help, and, in some cases, walk away from toxic relationships. Healthy families nurture, protect, and uplift their members, making it crucial to demand and uphold an environment free from harm. Everyone deserves to feel safe and respected in their family. 10. Refusal to acknowledge or address conflicts. Conflict is an inevitable part of any relationship, but how it's handled determines whether it strengthens or weakens the bond. In families, a refusal to acknowledge or address conflicts often leads to unresolved tensions and lingering resentment. When issues are ignored or swept under the rug, they don't disappear. They fester, eventually erupting in more significant, damaging ways. Consider a family member who consistently avoids discussing past grievances, shutting down conversations with phrases like, "Let's not dwell on the past," or "It's not a big deal." While this avoidance may feel like keeping the peace, it prevents meaningful resolution and understanding. For instance, unresolved arguments about financial responsibilities or personal boundaries can create ongoing frustration, silently damaging relationships. This refusal to engage in conflict resolution sends a message that your feelings and concerns don't matter, eroding trust and mutual respect. It also perpetuates a cycle where similar issues arise repeatedly, each time compounding the emotional toll. Addressing this requires open communication and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Initiate conversations with a calm and solution-focused tone, saying something like, "I'd like to talk about this issue so we can move forward and strengthen our relationship." If the other party remains resistant, consider involving a neutral mediator, like a family counselor, to facilitate productive discussions. Resolving conflicts doesn't mean erasing disagreements. It means understanding each other's perspectives and finding common ground. Healthy families prioritize growth and connection by facing challenges together, fostering an environment where conflicts are opportunities for deeper understanding rather than sources of division. Solutions: how to deal with these painful problems. 1. Setting and enforcing boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining healthy relationships, especially in families where emotions and expectations often run high. Setting clear boundaries communicates your needs and ensures that interactions remain respectful and balanced. However, enforcing boundaries requires consistency and courage, especially if family members are resistant or dismissive. For example, if a parent frequently criticizes your parenting style, you can establish a boundary by calmly saying, "I understand you have advice, but I prefer to make my own decisions regarding my children. Please respect that." The key is to be firm yet respectful, avoiding emotional confrontations that might escalate tensions. Enforcing boundaries might also involve limiting certain topics of discussion. If a relative often brings up sensitive or triggering subjects, you can redirect the conversation or politely state that you're not comfortable discussing that matter. While setting boundaries may initially create discomfort or pushback, it ultimately fosters healthier dynamics. It teaches family members how to interact with you in a way that respects your emotional and physical well-being. Remember, boundaries are not about creating distance, but about ensuring mutual respect. They allow for deeper, more meaningful connections by establishing a foundation of trust and understanding. Over time, consistent boundary setting helps shift unhealthy dynamics and promotes a more balanced and fulfilling family relationship. 2. Seeking open communication. Open communication is the cornerstone of healthy family relationships. It involves expressing your thoughts, feelings, and concerns honestly while creating space for others to do the same. When conflicts or trust issues arise, addressing them directly, yet constructively, can pave the way for resolution and deeper understanding. Start by choosing an appropriate time and setting for conversations. Avoid discussing sensitive topics during emotionally charged moments. Instead, approach the discussion with a calm demeanor and a willingness to listen. For instance, you might begin by saying, "I've noticed some tension between us, and I'd like to talk about it so we can move forward together." Active listening is crucial. Give family members the opportunity to share their perspectives without interruption or judgment. Validating their feelings, even if you disagree, can create a sense of mutual respect. For example, saying, "I understand why you feel that way, and I want to work with you to find a solution," can de-escalate potential conflicts. If emotions run high, consider using I statements to express your concerns without placing blame. For example, "I feel hurt when my boundaries are ignored," is more effective than "you always disrespect me." Open communication doesn't guarantee immediate resolution, but it lays the groundwork for mutual trust and empathy. Over time, these conversations strengthen family bonds and create a culture where concerns can be addressed without fear of judgment or dismissal. In cases where communication remains difficult, seeking the guidance of a family therapist can help facilitate productive dialogue. Healthy families thrive on open communication, where every member feels heard, valued, and understood. Taking the first step to initiate these conversations shows courage and a commitment to fostering positive relationships. 3. Seeking professional help. Sometimes family dynamics become so strained or complicated that resolving issues independently feels impossible. In such cases, seeking professional help such as therapy or mediation can provide a neutral and supportive space for addressing deep-rooted issues. Professional intervention is not a sign of weakness, but a proactive step toward healing and rebuilding trust. Family therapists are trained to identify toxic patterns and facilitate open, constructive communication. For instance, in cases where a family member refuses to acknowledge their role in conflicts, a therapist can help them see how their behavior impacts others without assigning blame. Mediation sessions can also guide families in navigating sensitive topics, such as financial disputes or unspoken grievances. Consider a scenario where siblings are divided over how to care for aging parents, leading to resentment and tension. A professional mediator can help establish a fair plan that respects everyone's concerns and capabilities. Similarly, therapy can be invaluable in addressing emotional wounds caused by past betrayals or unresolved conflicts. For those experiencing abuse or severe neglect, professionals can offer resources and strategies to ensure safety and support. They can also help individuals process their emotions and rebuild self-esteem, empowering them to make healthier decisions about their relationships. While it may take time and effort to see results, professional help can bring clarity and structure to even the most complex family dynamics. It shows a commitment to breaking unhealthy cycles and fostering a more understanding, respectful environment. Ultimately, prioritizing emotional and relational well-being is one of the most meaningful investments you can make in your family's future. 4. Prioritizing self-care. In the midst of family conflicts or strained relationships, it's easy to lose sight of your own well-being. Prioritizing self-care is essential to maintaining your mental, emotional, and physical health, especially when navigating challenging family dynamics. By focusing on yourself, you build resilience and clarity, empowering you to make decisions that align with your values and needs. Self-care involves more than just pampering. It's about creating habits that nurture your overall well-being. For example, regular exercise, adequate sleep, and a balanced diet can significantly improve your ability to manage stress. Engaging in hobbies or activities you enjoy also provides an outlet for self-expression and a break from familial pressures. Emotional self-care is equally vital. Journaling, meditating, or speaking with a trusted friend can help you process your feelings and gain perspective. If family relationships feel particularly toxic, consider creating a support network outside your family. Friends, mentors, or support groups can provide encouragement and understanding when you need it most. It's important to set boundaries around your time and energy. For instance, limiting interactions with toxic family members or saying no to commitments that drain you can create space for your personal growth. Remember, prioritizing your needs doesn't mean neglecting others. It means ensuring you're in a position to engage in relationships from a place of strength and self-assurance. Ultimately, self-care is an act of self-respect. By valuing yourself, you model healthy behaviors for others and create a foundation for meaningful connections. Even in challenging family situations, prioritizing self-care ensures you remain grounded and empowered to make choices that support your happiness and well-being. 5. Knowing when to limit or cut ties. In some cases, despite your best efforts, a family relationship may remain toxic, abusive, or beyond repair. Knowing when to limit or cut ties with a family member is one of the hardest but most important decisions you may face. It's not about abandoning family, but about protecting your mental, emotional, and even physical well-being when the relationship becomes detrimental to your health. Consider situations where repeated attempts to establish boundaries are ignored, manipulative behaviors persist, or emotional and physical abuse continues unchecked. For example, if a relative consistently undermines your self-esteem, spreads false information about you, or refuses to take responsibility for their harmful actions, it may be necessary to reassess the value of that relationship in your life. Limiting ties doesn't always mean a complete cutoff. It might involve reducing the frequency of interactions or choosing neutral environments for meetings. For instance, you might decide only to see a toxic family member at larger family gatherings where their behavior is less targeted. In extreme cases, cutting ties entirely may be the healthiest option. While this choice comes with emotional challenges and societal stigma, it can provide the freedom and peace needed to focus on your well-being. Therapy or support groups can help navigate the emotional fallout and provide guidance during this process. Remember, walking away from a toxic relationship is not an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-preservation. You have the right to prioritize your happiness and safety, even if it means creating distance from family members. By doing so, you open the door to building healthier, more supportive relationships that align with your values and nurture your personal growth. Family relationships are complex and, at their best, provide love, support, and security. However, they can also harbor toxic dynamics that erode trust and emotional well-being. Recognizing the signs of distrust is the first step toward protecting yourself and addressing unhealthy patterns. Throughout this discussion, we identified 10 key red flags in family relationships: consistent dishonesty, manipulative behavior, betrayal of confidence, financial exploitation, lack of support during crises, frequent gossiping, dismissal of boundaries, favoritism, emotional or physical abuse, and refusal to address conflicts. Each of these behaviors undermines the foundation of trust and can lead to lasting emotional harm if left unchecked. Equally important are the solutions we explored. setting and enforcing boundaries, fostering open communication, seeking professional help, prioritizing self-care, and knowing when to limit or cut ties. These strategies empower individuals to take control of their relationships, ensuring they are built on mutual respect, understanding, and care. Recognizing these issues early and addressing them with clarity and courage can lead to healthier dynamics within families. While not all relationships can be repaired, understanding when to let go or create distance is crucial for personal well-being. Empowerment begins with the recognition that you have the right to protect your peace, even within your family. It's easy to feel trapped by societal expectations or cultural norms that emphasize unconditional loyalty to family. But prioritizing your mental and emotional health is not selfish, it's necessary. Take proactive steps to identify and address toxic behaviors. If you notice red flags, don't ignore them. Open communication is a powerful tool, but it's okay to acknowledge when deeper issues require professional intervention or a redefinition of the relationship. Remember, setting boundaries isn't about punishing others. It's about creating the space for healthy and respectful interactions. When these boundaries are consistently violated, know that you have the strength to make the tough decisions to limit or end contact. Surround yourself with supportive relationships that uplift you, whether they are within or outside your family. Seeking healthier dynamics is a journey, not an overnight fix. It requires patience, self-reflection, and a commitment to growth. But the result, peace of mind, self-respect, and meaningful connections, is worth the effort. Healing and growth are always possible, even in the face of challenging family dynamics. You are not alone in navigating these complexities, and many have walked this path before, finding strength and fulfillment on the other side. While you may not always be able to change others, you can change how you respond to and manage these relationships. By focusing on your well-being and surrounding yourself with positive influences, you create an environment that nurtures trust, respect, and love. Family isn't defined solely by blood. It's about the connections that make you feel valued, safe, and supported. As you move forward, take comfort in knowing that meaningful relationships can be built and sustained, whether within your biological family or through the family you choose. Embrace the journey toward healthier dynamics with hope. Every small step you take, whether it's setting a boundary, seeking therapy, or building a new support system, is a step toward reclaiming your emotional health and happiness. You deserve relationships that uplift and empower you, and with time and effort, those connections are within reach. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need this message. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insightful content like this. Your support helps us continue creating videos that inspire, empower, and guide you toward a better, healthier life. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Together, we can navigate life's challenges and build stronger, more meaningful connections. See you in the next video.